Boy, what a great day this is. It's truly in the bar year, as far as I'm concerned, one of the really great days. And not only because we get together socially and for camaraderie and friendship's sakes, but it's because we recognize a number of people, both past and present, that have really been shining examples in our lives on how lawyers should conduct themselves and how we should behave to honor each other in our profession. So everyone, good afternoon. I am John Shikoda, partner at Ehrenberg Goldgan, and I am honored and humbled to be your president of your Chicago Bar Association for 2024-25. As I said in my installation, I stand on the shoulders of many of the people in this room who have been so influential to me, both personally and professionally. So I'm honored to be here, and we welcome you to our Chicago Bar Association's 2024 Justice John Paul Stevens Award ceremony. Our theme this year is leaving a legacy for our profession. And there is no doubt that the people that we are honoring today have left a great legacy that will live on forever, as have all of our past John Paul Stevens Award recipients, as well as our past presidents and past board members that have made this such a special association. Thank you for joining us to honor and celebrate the finest in our legal profession. I would like to first introduce our honored guests at the head table, including starting from my far right, which would be your left, the Chief Judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County, the Honorable Timothy C. Evans. Past Chicago Bar Association Treasurer and Board Member, Nina Fain. Our current Chicago Bar Association Treasurer, John Amarillo. Past CBA President and past YLS Chair, among many other leadership roles, is Mr. Dan Cotter. Our CBA First Vice President and President-elect, Katie Liss. And to my former law professor and one of the first people I met on the first days of law school, the Honorable Judge David Coar. And from my far left, the Chicago Bar Foundation outstanding President and Executive Director, Mr. Bob Glaves. Our current CBA YLS Chair, Kenny Matuszewski. Our current CBA Secretary, Tricia Rich. One of our recipients today, as well as Nina Fain, who I previously introduced, who is a obvious past president of our association, Mr. Jack Jiganti. Our second vice president, Judge Nicole Patton. And someone I've known and admired for so many, many years, a justice of the Illinois Appellate Court and one of our John Paul Stevens Awards recipients, Justice Margaret Stanton McBride. And one of my great colleagues and president of our Chicago Bar Foundation this year is Sang-Yul Lee. I always feel it's important to acknowledge those that have served and come before us and previous recipients of this honor. So we'd like to acknowledge our distinguished guest in attendance today, and if you could please stand and be recognized. All of our state and members of the federal judiciary, please stand. I know a lot of them are here. Please stand. And a group that is near and dear to my heart, will all of our past Chicago Bar Association presidents please stand. There's many here. And it wouldn't be appropriate if we didn't have all of our past Stevens Award recipients. Please stand. And if I could please recognize our Stevens Committee members. Please stand. And thank you for your service. The Stevens Award and awards were established in 2000, are named in honor of Chicago native Justice John Paul Stevens. And by the way, Justice Stevens, as many of you may know, was the chief counsel of the Greenberg Commission. And Frank Greenberg was past president of the Chicago Bar Association in 1969 and 1970, and he was one of our firms and my firm's senior partners at that time. So I'm proud to say that I'm the second Chicago Bar Association president from my firm, the first being Frank Greenberg. And little did we know that his chief counsel during the Greenberg Commission would be John Paul Stevens. Stevens retired from the High Court in 2010 after 35 years of distinguished service, and he passed away in 2019. The Stevens Award is presented annually to lawyers and judges in recognition of their outstanding character and commitment to community. Selected by the Chicago Bar Association and the Chicago Bar Foundation, these honorees exemplify the highest personal integrity and devotion to public service, just as Justice John Paul Stevens did. Today we celebrate and honor and recognize Judge David H. Coar, Daniel A. Cotter, David A. Decker, Nina Fain, Lynn Grayson, and John Jack Jiganti, and the Honorable Justice Margaret Stanton McBride. Like past Stevens Award recipients, this year's honorees are among the finest in the legal profession in Chicago. This phenomenal group of honorees has substantially impacted our legal community, our city, and our state through their leadership and general service to the Chicago Bar Association, the Chicago Bar Foundation, and our Chicago legal community, and are proud to honor this highly regarded group of lawyers and jurists with today's most prestigious award. The winner's great legacies, like that of Justice John Paul Stevens, will live on forever. Now, before we hear from our Stevens Award recipients, join me in welcoming my colleague and friend, Sang-Yul Lee, president of the Chicago Bar Foundation. Sang.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sang-Yul Lee, and I'm proud to be this year's president of the Chicago Bar Foundation. I would like to join my friend and CBA President John Chakota in welcoming all of you to today's event. The event celebrates the outstanding honorees and Justice Stevens' long and distinguished career and the great legacy he left to our profession, our justice system, our country, and this great city of Chicago. As many of you know, the Stevens Award was conceived by Justice Stevens' former law clerks, the CBA and CBF, as a tribute to the justice to honor those attorneys who best exemplify the justice's commitment to integrity and public service in the practice of law. First presented in 2000, those who have received this prestigious award are really the Hall of Fame of Chicago's legal community. And as you will all see in person, this year's honorees are very worthy to add to this impressive list. As the Chicago Bar Association's charitable arm, the CBF is committed to carrying out Justice Stevens's commitment to the noblest traditions of our profession by working to ensure that our justice system is fair, accessible, and equitable for everyone in our community. Justice Stevens's legacy of pro bono and public service in his career, both as a practicing lawyer and then as a judge, will continue to serve as a great inspiration to all of us in the legal community to step up our leadership in the fight to fulfill our nation's fundamental principle of equal access to justice for all. I know that most of you already are strong supporters of the CBF and our work, so thank you very much. For those of you who have not yet gotten involved, I hope you will join me and your many colleagues in taking a leadership role in this cause that is so fundamental to who we are as a profession. You can learn more about getting involved and contribute online at chicagobarfoundation.org. And thanks again for all that you do to make the CBF's work possible. I look forward to working with all of you in this coming year as CBF president. Congrats to today's honorees, and I hope you enjoy today's program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sang Yul, for those great remarks. Before we start lunch, I'd like to have our current Chicago Bar Association Board of Managers, if you would please stand. No, there's a number of them here. I'll tell you what's really comforting is to have a group of officers and board of managers this year that is stellar in all regards, dedicated, committed, and hardworking as you can ever expect. So thank you all. Also, we have Heather McPherson from the Board of Governors of the Illinois State Bar Association. Heather, will you please stand? And thank you for being here today. And also, I believe Mark Palmer is here from the ISBA Board of Governors. Mark, I saw you earlier. Thank you, Mark. So we will enjoy lunch and we will resume with the awards after a short break. Thank you. We're going to continue the program as you're finishing your lunch and also working on dessert. There's someone else here that I have did not recognize, but I'd like to, and it's the former Chief Judge of McHenry County. And Judge, I think you're the current president of the Advocate Society, Judge Mike Camille. Please stand, Judge. He's still the Chief Judge. Sorry. I knew you were. Thank you for being here, Chief Judge Camille. Now that we have all enjoyed our lunch, let us resume our program with the introductions of our 2024 Justice John Paul Stevens Award recipients. Please feel free to take a look at your program for the full bios of our distinguished honorees. I will introduce each winner in alphabetical order, and then we will play their video remarks. Once the video is over, I will ask the winner to join Sang Yul and I on stage to receive their award. Our first honoree is the Honorable David H. Coar. Judge Coar is a former United States District Judge for the Northern District of Illinois and a United States Bankruptcy Judge. He also served as the first United States Bankruptcy Trustee in the Northern District of Illinois. As Associate Professor of Law at DePaul University College of Law and as Dean, Judge Coar taught courses on ethics, corporations. That's why I got a good grade in corporations, Judge. Thank you. Corporate finance, constitutional law, labor law, and professional responsibility. I am pleased to present Judge Coar, and we will now watch his video.
Thank you, members of the Chicago Bar Association, for the very great honor that you bestow on me today. I am humbled to receive it and doubly honored that the award bears the name of Justice Stevens. I came to Chicago almost 60 years ago with a fresh BA degree and a head full of dreams. It was my goal to finish law school and then to pursue my fortunes here in the city. Unfortunately, I was here during the riots of 1968 at the convention, and then the death of the events that followed the death of Martin Luther King. I left Chicago after that and never intended to come back. Fortunately for me, I got an offer that I couldn't refuse and returned a few years later. I will always be grateful to the people of the city of Chicago and to the members of the bar in particular for extending to me kindness and assistance as I pursued my legal career. I came here as an immigrant. When I arrived in Chicago, I didn't know a single person in the city. Like me, some of you migrated here from other parts of the country. Some of you, your parents or grandparents arrived here as immigrants from other countries. The fact that you're here today suggests that you and your families have obtained a degree of success, in part because of your own talents and in part because you are the beneficiaries of the warmth and acceptance extended to newcomers to this great city. I didn't know it when I arrived, but I was part of the end of the great migration of African Americans from the South. Chicago is now experiencing another influx of people who, like me, are seeking to better their lives and pursue their dreams. Unlike me, they're immigrants from other countries. I have no doubt that they will be extended the same courtesies and acceptance that Chicago awarded me when I came here. Thank you again for this great honor.
Thank you, Judge Coar, and thank you for all you've done in your remarkable career. Our next honoree is a great friend to many of us and somebody who defines the characteristic of loyalty and friendship, and that is Dan Cotter. Dan is a partner at Dickinson, Wright, PLLC in Chicago, and focuses on a variety of corporate law and litigation matters. He serves as a Cook County American Arbitration Association arbitrator, and he has served as president of the Chicago Bar Association in 2014 and 15, and is also a former chair of the CBA's Young Lawyers section. He is president of the advisory board of the Justice Entrepreneurs Project and a past president of the Lawyers Lend a Hand. I am pleased to now present Dan Cotter and his video.
I am honored and humbled beyond words to be a recipient this year of the Justice John Paul Stevens Award. Looking at the list of luminaries that have been recognized since 2000, it is not registering that I'm now on that list. I am especially honored to be included in the 2024 class, all of whom I have known for a long time and all of whom I admire immensely. Congrats to each of them. Lynn and I became very good friends several years ago, and Jack I have known most of my legal career. I graduated with his daughter Mia, who has been an amazing friend, and Jack has been a mentor to me. Attending law school at night, I never dreamt of achieving anything of this nature. When the award was initiated, I was just beginning bar leadership and remembered attending and just marveling at the great work that lawyers were doing to give back and to benefit the community. I've been blessed with mentors in the profession who have showed me the way. In addition to Jack, two in particular stand out: Paul Horahan at CNA Financial and Mark Wilcox, my first boss post-JD at Lord Bissell and Brook. Outside the legal arena, several stand out to show how integrity and hard work lead to good results. Cheryl Porter, my 8th grade teacher who believed in me, Coach John Urban at Gordon Tech who kept me focused on football, and coaches Haynes, Kane, and DeVore at Monmouth College. My parents and Ann's parents also were mentors to me. I owe all though to my friend, rock, pillar, and compass, Anne Marie, with whom I will celebrate 35 years of marriage this October. Her willingness to allow me to spend time on work and community can never be acknowledged enough. I love you, Anne. I am blessed that my firm, Dickinson, Wright, PLLC, is supportive of bar involvement and giving back. Thank you. Finally, a thank you to 3 bar executives who are friends and advisors, former Executive Director Terry Murphy, current Executive Director Beth McMean, and CBF Executive Director Bob Glaves. They have all showed confidence and trust in me and given me opportunities to lead. I've been blessed in many ways, and as long as I can, will continue to emulate my judicial hero who showed how it can be done, Justice John Paul Stevens, who demonstrated without peer how one can, with integrity, establish a legacy of service to the bench and the bar and commitment to public and community service. I will always look back on this day as a highlight of my career. Thank you to the awards committee, the CBF and the CBA for this honor, and thank you to Michael Hyman for the nomination.
A round of applause to Dan Cotter. Thank you, Dan. Our next honoree is David Decker. David was a plaintiff's personal injury attorney and handled and tried cases in Lake and other Collier counties. He was plaintiff's counsel in 1980 for the Elvis case where the Illinois Supreme Court adopted the doctrine of comparative negligence. He has served as a fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, the Board of Governors Association of Trial Lawyers, Director, Vice President of the Lawyers Trust Fund, and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the ISBA Mutual Insurance Company. We will hear David Decker's video now.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I apologize initially for my inability to travel to Chicago, but it is what it is. Like all the recipients, I'm honored to receive such a prestigious award. But in my case, and I'll explain, the fact that it comes from the CBA, the Chicago Bar Association, gives it additional satisfaction to me. And let me explain. I was not ever a member of the Chicago Bar Association, and for most of my career, did not practice in Chicago. Nonetheless, through the years, I often worked extensively with members of the CBA and the organization itself, and developed extreme and the highest respect for the organization and the individuals. Some of the past presidents of the Chicago Bar with whom I interacted rather extensively would include Dick Prendergast, Patty Bob, Larry Rogers Jr., the Demetrios, Bob Clifford, and Larry Coten. I've left 2 for the end, 2 with whom I'm very close, who were members of the Chicago Bar Association and prominent Chicago attorneys. First, my sister-in-law, Sylvia Decker, who was the first female partner ever at Sidley Austin. And lastly, my brother Tom. the late Thomas Decker, a superb lawyer who ran the Federal Defender Program for many years. In closing, my admiration for the people and for the organization, the Chicago Bar Association, is why this award takes on additional significance. Thank you very much.
David is in Florida and cannot join us today. We will be sending him the award and share a video of the award ceremony with him. Thank you to David Decker. Our next honoree is Nina Fain. Nina serves as general counsel to the J.S. Schirn Family Trust. She was one of the first African Americans and women partners in an AM Law 100 law firm like Holland and Knight. She previously served as chief legal counsel to the Office of the Illinois State Treasurer. She has taught not-for-profit law in the Graduate School of Public Policy at DePaul University and real estate law at Roosevelt University in its Graduate School of Business. Nina has served as treasurer of the CBA with distinction, on the CBA Board of Managers, and is a Chicago Bar Association record publication editorial board member for many years. I am pleased to present Nina Fain and her video.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am deeply humbled to receive the John Paul Stevens Award. As the author of the CBA record column, History Will Judge, I know this honor carries the weight of history. A heartfelt thanks to the members of the award committee, and congratulations to the other honorees. Your work and dedication to our profession inspires me. I have been fortunate to have many mentors and guiding lights in my life and career. My grandmother, for instance, was a woman of remarkable strength. She had been rejected by the University of Missouri because of the color of her skin. A rejection that would have crushed many spirits, but not hers. She pressed on and later became a senior staffer for a Missouri state legislator. Another guiding light was my beloved mother, who worked for Earl B. Dickinson's Supreme Life Insurance Company. She gave me examples of what it means to live with integrity, even when the world tries to strip that from you. Mother would always remind me that dignity has no price tag. It is something that you carry with you. She also would remind me that respect of self and others is an imperative in everything we do, but it is especially important as one pursues success. She taught me that success and accomplishments are meaningless when achieved through favor or deceit. Those lessons were critical to my career because, as a Black woman in the legal profession, I've walked roads paved with progress and pain. One day in particular that I recall occurred when I walked into my Conflicts of Law class at the University of Illinois College of Law in Champaign. I was excited to meet that day's guest speaker, who was a partner, named partner, in one of Chicago's largest law firms. You see, it was that type of firm where I wanted to work. As I walked past him to my seat, he said to the class professor, who was the dean of the law school and my academic advisor, "The hell is she doing in here? You know, she's never going to practice in anything other than family or criminal law." Without missing a beat, my advisor, who was also an adjunct professor at The Hague, laughed and responded, "I think you will find she has some other ambitions." That moment, like so many others, became part of the fuel that kept me moving forward. Indeed, even today, in our profession, when I still can find myself faced with veiled bigotry, sexism, or ageism, those kinds of experiences remain my fuel. The overarching lesson to be learned from those types of challenges is that people will always try to tell you what you should do, or they will always tell you where they think you belong, but only you can be the one to decide all of that. So today, when I am asked to speak to groups of young lawyers or lawyers who may continue to experience professional challenges because they are different from others' expectations, I share with them something I call Nina's ways. 1. Remember to have the courage of your convictions because you can overcome most any obstacle. 2. Never lose sight of your dreams. Aim high, for you will succeed only if you believe in yourself. 3. Stand firm in your truth, for it is your greatest weapon when you fight for what is just. And never, never let doubt diminish your fire. So again, my profound thanks to the Chicago Bar Association members for this place in your history. Thank you.
I'd also like to, I forgot to recognize Emily Masalski from the ISBA Board of Governors. Em, thank you for being here. Our next honoree is someone who I worked a great deal with as I was treasurer of our association during Lynn Grayson's presidency. And I saw firsthand what a great leader and lawyer and person she was. And that was during the pandemic. So she's quite a lady. Lynn is a partner in the environmental law firm of Nijman, Franzetti, LLP in Chicago. She served as the chief legal counsel for the Illinois Emergency Services and Disaster Agency and as an assistant attorney general for the state of Illinois, prosecuting environmental enforcement actions. Lynn served as president of the Chicago Bar Association in 2021-22 and previously served as co-chair of the CBA-CBF Task Force on the Sustainable Practice of Law and Innovation. Let's hear Lynn Grayson's video.
I am very touched to be one of this year's recipients of the John Paul Stevens Award. Thank you to the Chicago Bar Association and its president, John Chikota, and its board of managers, as well as the Chicago Bar Foundation, its president, the Honorable Kenya Jenkins Wright, and its board of directors. Thank you, too, to the selection committee for this very special recognition. Congratulations to all of the extraordinary lawyers and judges also receiving this award today. A special thank you to my law firm, Nijman Franzetti, for all they do, and as always, to my family for their love and support. After Beth called me to let me know that I was receiving this special honor, I thought back on the many John Paul Stevens Award luncheons I had attended over the years, and the mentors and friends and colleagues who have received this award, as well as the many contributions that they have made to our legal community throughout the years. This award means so much to Chicago lawyers, and it means a great deal to me because it honors one of the best of us, Justice John Paul Stevens. I actually had the privilege of meeting Justice Stevens on a number of occasions, including his many visits to his much beloved Chicago Bar Association. Today, I am reminded of one of the memorials written about him by one of his former clerks in the Washington Post. And in that memorial, it referred to Justice Stevens as the rule of law justice. Through his opinions, he taught us time and time again that no person is above the law, a basic tenet of our democracy that continues to be tested each and every day. Justice Stevens knew that the majesty of the law comes when the Supreme Court rises above being seen as a predictable political player, when it acts and is seen as acting as an impartial guardian of the rule of law, even if one disagrees with the individual opinions. He knew that the court's greatest moments had come when the court lived up to that role. And its worst moments came when the court, in his opinion, failed to do so. Justice Stevens was a staunch supporter of the rule of law, and his legacy reminds us that each of us has an important role to share and to undertake in protecting the rule of law and ensuring that all have access to a fair and just legal system. Some of my fondest memories throughout my career, as well as contributions that I am most proud of, are associated with my work with the Chicago Bar Association and the Chicago Bar Foundation, where it is a privilege to serve the organized bar, the Chicago legal community, and those that we represent. During the year that the Chicago Bar Association celebrates its 150th anniversary, I am truly honored to receive the John Paul Stevens Award. Thank you again.
Unfortunately, Lynn can't be here today. She's traveling out of the country, but it will be my honor to present her award to her when she returns. Our next honoree is John J. Jack Jiganti. Jack is a partner in the law firm of Madden, Jiganti, Moore, and Sheridan, LLC. He is a member of the International Academy of Trial Lawyers and has written and lectured on many tax controversy matters. Jack served on the Chicago Bar Association Board of Managers and was president of our association in 1987-1988. He also served on the board and was president of the Lawyers Trust Fund of Illinois and is a very proud graduate of the St. Ignatius College Prep, where he has been bestowed the honor of being a life trustee. I'm pleased to present Jack and his video.
I want to thank the Chicago Bar Association, the Chicago Bar Foundation, the Selection Committee, and those who supported my nomination, with a special thanks to my daughter Mia, who advocated for me while I remained totally unaware that I was under consideration. When I look at the other recipients here today and those that came before us, it is clear the recipients represent the gold standard of the bar. I am humbled to be in such august company. My work at various bar-related ventures has been very gratifying and rewarding. I've had the privilege to work directly with lawyers of great ability and integrity on matters that advance the cause of justice. In that context, I have to share why the John Paul Stevens Award is a special and very personal meaning to me. Early in my career, I had the great privilege to be a member of the Judicial Evaluation Committee of the Chicago Bar Association. We were assigned to the file of an applicant, and we prepared a report and presented it to the committee. In preparing a report on an applicant, we were expected to contact all of the lawyers listed on the application. The applicant I was investigating listed John Paul Stevens as a reference. The problem was that Justice Stevens had just been elevated to the Supreme Court. As a young lawyer, I was intimidated by the thought that I would intrude on the precious time of a sitting justice. After wrestling with those doubts for a day or two, I recognized it was my obligation to follow through on the contact. I called his chambers, and within a day, he returned the call. As I was stumbling through an apology for taking his time, he stopped me and said, "I know what you're doing," as I was on that Chicago Bar Committee. He said he prepared many reports and sat in on innumerable hearings. He went on to say the work of the committee is vital, and I should keep at it, as well as anything else the bar calls me to do. That is our obligation as lawyers. He further recounted in some detail his interaction with the applicant and felt that he would be a good judicial candidate. He expressed an interest in my personal experiences in practice and at the bar. I'm not sure what else we exactly discussed, but all in all, his humility, devotion to the process, and love of lawyers came through in that brief encounter. 49 years later, I treasure that interaction and use those memories to remind me of the great responsibilities and privileges that come with being an Illinois lawyer. Again, Thank you for this incredible honor.
Our final honoree, and certainly not least, is Illinois Appellate Court Justice Margaret Stanton McBride. And I may be dating myself a little bit, but as a law student in 1985-86, I had the honor of being a Rule 711 lawyer at the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. And during that time, I would sneak down to Judge Bailey's courtroom in those days, and I would watch this lawyer by the name of Margaret Stanton try cases. And I will tell you that I was in awe, and I'm still in awe. And I never saw her lose a case, a jury trial. She exhibited great professionalism, respect, and competence as being a lawyer, and she was and still is a shining example to me and to so many others of what it is to be a professional. Justice McBride began her judicial career as an associate judge in 1987, was elected as a circuit judge in 1990, and was retained in 1996. She was elected to the Illinois Appellate Court in 1998 and was retained in 2008 and 2018. She is the vice chair of the First District Appellate Court's Executive Committee and has served as both the chair and the vice chair. Justice McBride is a member of the Chicago Bar Association's Board of Managers currently, and serves on the DePaul Law School Dean's Advisory Council and Alumni Judges Committee. I'm pleased to present Justice McBride and her video.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so grateful to be honored as one of the recipients of the Chicago Bar Association and Chicago Bar Foundation's John Paul Stevens Award. Thank you to the CBA and the Chicago Bar Foundation for this honor. I also want to congratulate all of the other honorees on this wonderful occasion. I cannot express in words how fortunate I've been to be a part of the legal profession and to serve as a judge in the circuit and appellate court. It has been the great honor of my life. No one, however, can achieve or accomplish good things without the help of others. That is why it has been said that awards given to one individual are also an award and honor to the many other people who supported, encouraged, and inspired the person being recognized. So thank you to my family, friends, so many colleagues, and all the other people I have worked with over the years who have helped me, supported me, and guided me. With that said, I would like to turn my remarks to John Paul Stevens, one of the most esteemed justices of the United States Supreme Court. In one of his public speeches about his work on the court, Justice Stevens said that he learned on the job. By this, he did not mean that he lacked the legal knowledge or skills for the position. Rather, he was acknowledging that during his more than 30 years serving on the Supreme Court, his views on significant issues shifted over time. Justice Stevens said, in thinking through the cases and the issues and thinking through the law was a learning process and one that made his views change on key issues. Importantly, though, Justice Stevens was quick to remind those listening that he was always consistent in one important respect, and that was in his commitment to getting it right. I like to think Justice Stevens also meant that learning on the job was how he grew and continued to grow as a judge. There's no doubt that John Paul Stevens possessed all the necessary qualities and good character that a judge should have. Those qualities, combined with his independence, sound judgment, and common sense, truly set him apart and still do even more today. To conclude, I want to get back to getting it right. I hope that all of us, as lawyers and judges like John Paul Stevens, are and will always be committed to getting it right. Thank you again for this great honor today.
Let's give everyone, all of our recipients, a round of applause. What a great day it is. And I want to just thank again to President Lee of the Chicago Bar Foundation and to the joint CBA-CBF Selection Committee for choosing such distinguished honorees for the 2024 Justice John Paul Stevens Awards. Most importantly, I want to thank our extraordinary honorees for their tremendous contributions to our legal profession and to our community. And last, but certainly not least, I want to recognize our Chicago Bar Association staff who took part in organizing and preparing for this great event. And so will Beth McMean and Michelle Spaderick and the rest of the CBA staff please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. We have the best CBA staff, and we wouldn't be who we are or what we are without all of their hard work and efforts, and I want you to be recognized, and we are all very grateful. So that's it for this year. We will see everyone next year, and thank you all for coming.